I'm going to introduce 28 ethnic minorities in Sarawak, but I don't have time to talk too much about them. But I hope it will raise some interest to find more about these groups that probably some of you may know. To start with, I'd like to mention that in 1947, the colonial government of Sarawak invited Edmund Leach, a British anthropologist, to come to Sarawak to assess the socio-economic situation of Sarawak. In his 1950s report on the social science research in Sarawak, this became a very useful guideline for researchers doing field work on the people of Sarawak, and much later the whole island of Borneo. In the early years, it produced classic work on the Iban by Derek Freeman, the Bidayu by William Geddes, the Melanau by Stephen Morris, and the Chinese by Tien Jukeng. Tom Harrison did quite a voluminous work on the Malay, and Rodney Needham did field work amongst the Penan in the early 1950s, which is very useful early work for future researchers on the Penan. When can I have the okay? So when Leach came to Belaga in 1947, these four groups on the top left box, the Skapan, Kajaman, Lahanan, and Punanba, said that they are the Kajang people, and they were amongst the earliest occupants of the Upper Rajang, we know today as Belaga district. The Skapan comprised two large longhouses below the Belaga town. The Kajaman, two large longhouses, also this time above the town of Belaga and below the Bakon Rapids. And the Lahanan, also two large longhouses, one below the Bakon Rapids and the other one above the Bakon Rapid, but now moved to Asap resettlement when the Bakon Dam was established. The Punanba are much larger group. They form three longhouses in the Belaga district, two in Patau district and two in Sabau sub-district. We will come back and talk to that group later. But on the left box in the screen, you see a number of more minority groups in Sarawak. The Sihan is a small, just one small community. They live just across the bank to the Belaga Bazaar on the Rajang River. They used to live up in the Balai, but was pushed by the Iban who were migrating into the Kapit district. There are two Seping longhouses in the Belaga River and one small, I think only a few families in the Tinjar River. And then you have another small group called the Bamali, also in the Belaga River. The Sihan group, when they moved out of the Balai area, they took refuge amongst the Skapan and Kajaman in Belaga and given quite a large, substantial land for them to live on. The Seping, they live in a big area on the Belaga River, and the Bamali just downriver to the two Seping longhouses. Also, they live in quite a substantial large area on the Belaga River. The Bukats comprise just one longhouse in Belaga. They are found in Asap resettlement. They used to live up in the Baloi area and moved to Asap when Bakundem was established. The thing about these minority groups in Belaga, the Sehans, Ping, Bamali, and Bukat, they are multilingual. They speak they speak their own language, plus Kayan, plus Iban, Malay, and the younger ones speak English as they were going to school. Another group, minority groups who wants to be distinct from other bigger groups is the Kanawit. They're found in Kanawit district at Kampong Badil, not far upriver to the Belaga, to the Kanawit town. The Kanawits are closely related to the Kajang people, and in 1859, after the murder of the Brooke officers, Fox and Steele, Sakalai and Sawing and Sakalai, who murdered the two Brooke officers, fled up the Rajang River and took refuge among the Kajaman. And from there, we can see the relationship between the Kanawits and the Kajang, both in terms of culture and language. The languages are quite close. The Kanawit are also closely related to the Malanao of the coastal area. Another group closely related to the Kanawits are the Tanjong. There's one village just above Kapit district, Kapit town in Kapit district, and one longhouse in Belaga, below the Belaga Bazaar. So there are two Tanjong longhouses up on the Rajang. And they are also closely related to the Kajang people, as well as the Malanao of the coastal area. There's a small group of maybe not up to 10 families of Lisum. They live together in the same area, but separate longhouse from the Tanjong people. Another minority groups in Sarawak are the Begatan. They say they are Begatan, Begatan, but they have also often been called Begatan. They comprise 5 longhouses in the Merit area in Kapit district, and 3 on the Adap, Tatao, and 5 in the Penyarai River, also in the Tatao area. We also have one small group of people, the Tatao, one longhouse in not far from Tatao town in the Tatao area. Okay, in the next box we have the Sebop. They comprise quite large 7 longhouses. I'm not very sure how the population of the Sebop, and they're found in the Tinjar River. They used to live up in the western part of Usunapau in the Belaga district, and they migrated to the Tinjar in the 19th centuries, the mid 1800. Along with the Sebuks are the Lirong, only one longhouse. The Lirongs and Sebuks are quite close linguistically and culturally. There's a lot of in common. Another group are the Berawan. They comprise 2 longhouses on the Tinjar and 2 longhouses on the Tutu River. And you have the Ngorek, comprising 2 houses on the Baram River, and also the Lakiput, also on the Baram River. Like those groups in the Belaga area, this group, the Sebok, Lirong, Berawan, Ngorek, and Lakiput, they are multilingual, and all of them keep their language intact together. Yeah. The Berawan, the adat of the Berawan are being codified at the moment. This is codification for use in the native courts. And also the Lakiput, their adat is also being codified for use in the native court. I forgot to mention that the Bekatan also in the process of codifying their adat for use in the native court. In the box below are the Tring people. They comprise two longhouses, one at Long Terawan and the other at Mulu in the Malinau River in Mulu National Park. This both of these are in the Tuto River. And there is another group, the Tabun, closely related to the Tring, and they live in the Limbang River. The Tagal, normally these are the Muruts in Sabah. They comprise 3 villages in Merapok area in Lawas district and 2 in the Trusan River, the lower Trusan River. And then you have the Saban, one large longhouse up the uppermost of the Baram River in Baram district. But there are quite a large population of Saban living together with the Lundaya in the Karayan, Kacamatan Karayan in North Kalimantan. If you look at the photos on the right is a Berawan cover. The Berawan are famous for fine artists and cover. And the guy on the right is a Berawan cover. This was taken during the colonial period. Yeah. The next group of ethnic minorities are the Bai or the Bai Sagan. They're found mainly in Bintulu, and sometimes they're referred to as the Bintulu Melanau. A large number of them now want to consider themselves as Bai Sagan. And of course, they're closely linguistically and culturally close to the Melanau of the coastal area, and in some ways to the Kajang people of Belaga. Just below the Bai Sagan, you see another small ethnic minority called Mirek. There are several kampongs of Mirek in Miri city, and it is the Miri is named after the Mirek people. They were the ones who were the first occupants of the Miri area, and the city is named after the Mirek people. Another group, ethnic minorities, are the Narum. There's one village of Narum in Marude town, and another one in Kuala Tutu on the Baram. There is a new district called Bakong district, and a town named Bakong. There's a group of people there called Bakong, and they are closely related to Narum and the Mirek and perhaps the Bai people. In the early years, they intermarried with some nomadic Penan, but at the moment they're quite solid as a Bakong people, and the language has been documented by Dewan Bahasa dan Pustaka. A small group of people called Dalik are found in Subis town. So all this, the Bai, Mirek, Narum, and Bakong, Dalik, they're all Muslim. And last but not least, you find that the Penan are found in Baram, Belaga, Limbang, Miri, Bintulu, and Sebau. There are 4 small settlements in the Lurah on the Bahau River in North Kalimantan, and 1 longhouse of Eastern Penan on the Blight River. There is another group of people who's sharing the name of Punan. They are nomadic, unlike the Punan Ba, who lives in longhouses. So the Punan Buhangs are one traditionally a nomadic people. There are only two longhouses up in Belaga near the Indonesian border, one on the Kajang River and the other in the headwaters of the Balui River. The couple that you see on the left screens are Punan Buhang with the dogs. Okay, I will talk a little bit about the Kajang people, comprising the Skapan, Kejaman, Lahanan, and Punanba. They are among the earliest occupants of Belaga district and Bintulu division. They have for a long time, they have a long association with the Brunei Sultanate. Culturally and linguistically, they're close with the Melanau, especially in terms of sago used to be the staple, like the Melanau. And there is another thing that they share with the Melanau people is the secondary treatment of the dead in the past. We will talk about the idea of this secondary treatment of the dead later. Like all other indigenous groups in Sarawak, they are hill rice cultivators. And in the past, as I mentioned earlier, sago was their staple food, just like what it used to be with the Melanau in the past. Today, they also take part in cash crops, pepper, rubber, and oil palm. The Kajangs are quite good boat builders, and like everybody else, they're good artists and craftsmen. And a lot of this they share with other ethnic minorities. They keep their language. Each of them keep their own language and their oral tradition, their own music and songs. In actual fact, the oral tradition, one anthropologist, Simon Strickland, did translate one of the Kajaman oral narratives. It's quite long, but not as long as the Kayan Taknalawe. But suffice to say here that the language and oral tradition of the people have been documented. All the four groups, the Punanba, Sekapan, Lahanan, and Kajaman, they celebrate a festival called Sabe. In the past, it was associated with a headhunting ritual, but today it is celebrated with a bountiful harvest. Now, I want to talk about this secondary treatment of the dead. And Peter Metcalf, who spent 2 years studying the Brawan community in the Tinjar area, tells us that there were groups of people in Sarawak in the past who practiced this secondary treatment of the dead. And they include the Melanau people, Punanba, Sekapan, Kajaman, Lahanan, Brawan, Kalabit, Lunbawang, and Tabun. What it means is that when a person dies, his body will be put in a jar, or if they don't have a jar, put in a coffin and let it rot for a number of months or even years. And then the bones are collected and put into jars to be placed in a grave. For the Kajang people, the bones are kept in a clearing. And for the Melanau people, it's in the clearing. The clearing, as you can see on the left here, it's a billion wood, carved billion wood. The bones put in jars and put on the top of the clearing. The clearing is is more like a mausoleum for the chief. It is a way of to ensure that his protection. The clearing is also a marker of land and resource rights of the community, and it is also a marker of history, and also it is a mark. It is to mark them as a people. It's their identity. They are Kajang because they have this clearing all over the place. So wherever you find clearing because they move long houses in the past, so you have all this clearing all over the place, and they become a marker of land rights. Now we go into the Penan. There are two groups of Penan. One, Eastern Penan. The Eastern Penan are found mainly on the right banks of the Baram River, also in Limbang. And there's one longhouse, a small longhouse of few families in the Blight River in Brunei. The Western Penan are found in Balaga district. They're also found on the Silat River, Tinjal River in Baram, near Bintulu district, Sabau district, and there are a few longhouses of Penan in the Apokayan in Kalimantan. The Penan are traditionally a hunting and gathering society, and they practice what is called a mobile economy. They move from one resource area to another within a defined geographical boundary or river system. And they utilize resources, both food and other resources, on a sustainable basis. They move from one area to another, and the area that they left behind, they call it La'a or Le Lamin. The main food of the majority of the Penan still is wild sago, and here you see wild sago being processed by the Penan. On the right picture, you see a woman processing sago, and on the background there, you see a very clear stream. It is very important to process sago in a clear stream because if the water is polluted, mud particle will go inside the flour, and that is not going to be. In the past, Penan used to butter trade with the longhouse people, and here you see a butter trade between the Penan and the longhouse people. And on the top right, you see a government official supervising the trade between the Penan and the longhouse people to ensure that trade is transacted properly. The Penan, here you see Penan, rattan is a very important item for the Penan, and they weave them into mats, rattan mats and baskets, which they use themselves, but a lot of it they sell to get cash to buy items from the urban area. And they also make blowpipe. Here you see Penan making a blowpipe, which are used as a hunting tool, and sometimes they are sold to tourists or outsiders for as a house decoration. On the right, you see another Penan. This Western Penan making parang. very important tools for our longhouse people. One of the good practice that the Penan practice is their conservation concept. They have 3 conservation concepts which I'd like to share with you. First is Molong. Molong is to claim and foster resources which they harvest and sustainably manage for the future. The other is Mihao. Mihao is to protect, conserve, or take care of. It is ethically a powerful principle that allows Penan to take only what they need to sustain the livelihood. While Mihao guides the way Penan conduct the activities sustainably in the forest, Molong is a system of preserving and fostering resources on a sustainable management of resources for the future in the surrounding area. And the last one is, Minute. Minute is utilizing resources sparingly, and it comes with the idea that the community recognize that there is resource limitation. So I think this is very, very important concept that the Penan practice, so that the forest is there all the time to provide their needs, not only for the present generation, but future generation. When loggers came upriver to do logging, the Penan protested because it destroyed a lot of the resources that they need to survive, and also polluted rivers, which made it difficult for them to process their sago. On the right hand of the slide, you see the Penan having a dialogue with government officers, and this paved the way for forest policy on sustainable management of resources in the forest. So we have much to thank the Penan to alert us of the limitation of resources in our area. Okay, today, like everybody else, now all the Penans are settled. They send the kids to school, and some of them are now having a university education, and some of them are working in various occupations, both in government and the public sector. But I think although they are all settled, the forest still plays a central role in the lives of the majority of the Penan. It is still an important source of food, such as sago, all sorts of food plants, fruits, game, fish, and others. It is also the source of material necessary for cultural expression in arts and handicraft that we saw in the picture just now. So one can say that the landscape defines the Penan as a people who know how to utilize its resources without compromising the integrity of the environment. So I think I will end my presentation here and